Is he the captain or he isn't the captain? Is he retired or unofficially retired? Should he have been there or shouldn't he have been there? I give you my opinion. When we come back, I'm Marinaro. It's a Sick Podcast.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro. The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
And now a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Sports entertainment like no other. Brought to you by 8.6 Beer, intense by nature. And La Cage. If the last time you went to La Cage was when the Habs won the Cup, it's time you went back to La Cage. The menu will surprise you.
Marinaro, the Sick Podcast, brought to you by La Cage. If the last time you went to La Cage was when the Habs won the Cup, it's time that you go back to La Cage. The menu will surprise you. It no longer surprises me. Now I'm used to it. It is absolutely revamped and excellent. And brought to you by 8.6 Beer, intense by nature, the beer for those who follow their instinct and live their passions in order to make their mark. All right, okay. By now, everyone knows the story. Shea Weber's ankle, foot, not in great shape. Nick Kyprios had a story a couple of years ago that he thought that based on his information that Weber's career was in jeopardy. Weber came back within 5 days later, so everyone shot it down at that point. But then at the end of the playoffs, we heard that Shea Weber may never play again. He took the entire year off. Some say that he's unofficially retired, and the only reason why it hasn't been made official is because of insurance purposes and maybe an agreement between the Canadiens and the Predators at the time of the trade, because if Shea Weber basically retires, well, then the Predators get hit with the cap hit between now and the end of the contract and all that stuff. So they're looking to find a way to move him. We heard about that. But, you know, the Canadiens said at the beginning of the year that they weren't going to name a captain because until Weber's status would be 100% confirmed, that Shea Weber was the captain. And there was a situation at the beginning of the year on opening night, a night that kind of sets the tone for things to come. Not that I'm blaming it on opening night, by all means. They were a terrible team. They finished last overall with the Coyotes coming back and winning in Dallas last night. But, you know, Shea Weber, I gave you my opinion at the beginning of the season, and I told you that I'm not going to lose any sleep over the fact that he wasn't at the opening ceremony. But the Montreal Canadiens are different than any other hockey team in the world. And the way the Canadiens feel about their hockey team is different than the way pretty much any other fan on the planet feels about their favorite hockey team. Hockey is more than hockey here in Quebec. It's a part of the culture. It's a part of the tradition. It's a part of the fabric that makes it the great province that it is. It's ingrained in us. It's part of the culture. It's part of who we are. So I thought Shea Weber would have been there, and there was no Shea Weber sighting. Now, we know that he's in Kelowna back with his family and stuff like that, and we were told that he was going to be taking, you know, some time off. But once again, at one point, Jonathan Drouin let it slip that Shea Weber is pretty much retired. Because at that point, there were still some fans that held hope that, you know, Weber could come back after 1 year off. And, you know, Weber was told pretty much, based on the information that I have, that he needed a surgery, and if he was going to have the surgery, he would no longer be able to play again. So some are holding hope that he took the year off to see if giving it time off, rest, and recovery will translate until it being better and maybe being able to play through pain or the pain subsiding. A couple of days ago on Sunday, the Canadiens paid tribute to Guy Lafleur. It was a beautiful, beautiful ceremony. I've called it a perfect 10. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was great. Shea Weber wasn't there. So now a lot of people are talking about, should Shea Weber have been there? And those who are saying that he shouldn't be there, their argument is that he's not the captain. He has not played. He has not been with the team. And does that mean that every other former captain of the Montreal Canadiens should have been there? I say this. I say for those who think all of that, you don't know enough about the history of the Montreal Canadiens, what it means to be a Montreal Canadian, what it means to wear the C, what it means to hold the torch high, and what it means to pass the torch on to someone else. I take you to the closing of the Montreal Forum in 1996, and Emile Butch Bouchard got the torch in the locker room, and then he made his way onto the ice, and it was passed from captain to captain to captain to captain. And on that ice were Hockey Hall of Famers that night, some of them who weren't captain of the Montreal Canadiens, but they too were leaders in their own way. And they too showed the younger players the way. It was passed on from generation to generation to generation. We were told that, from Marc Bergevin, that when Weber would be gone, that the culture that he helped instill in Montreal would live on for a very, very long time. And some of those standards would be met. I'm going to tell you this. Say what you want about PK Subban. He got it. And I almost feel like some people who don't want to be critical of Shea Weber are those who liked the deal and don't want to say anything. And those who are critical are people, some of those people are people that didn't like the trade. And that's why forget about the trade for a second. Just forget about, it's got nothing to do with nothing. PK Subban got it. He understood what it meant to be a Montreal Canadian. Just talk to Elise Beliveau and ask her. Always showed the utmost respect to former Montreal Canadiens greats. He understood what it meant to be a great in this city, to be the Rocket, to be Beliveau, to be Lafleur, to be Robinson, to be Savard, to be Lapointe, to be Dryden, to be Roy. He got it. Max Pacioretty got it too. Now, PK Subban was not a captain with the Montreal Canadiens, and Max Pacioretty was. And this is not a discussion either to talk about the merits of the captaincy or whether one was a good captain or not or whatever. But say what you want about Max Pacioretty. He got it. He understood what Montreal was. And I can tell you, and I don't know this for a fact, but it's based on everything I know and based on my gut feelings, that if Max Pacioretty was the captain of the Montreal Canadiens and he was away because he was unofficially retired, that he was going to be there on that night. And a lot has been said that, you know, Weber picked up the phone and he extended his sympathies to the Lafleur family, and that's great. And I get it. Shea Weber didn't have to be there on opening night, and Shea Weber didn't have to be there when they paid tribute to Lafleur, but he had to. If that makes sense, then you understand what I'm talking about. He didn't have to be there, but he had to be there. It's so that you understand what it means to be a Montreal Canadian, what it means to be captain. We were told that until there's another captain, he's the captain. Now you cannot spin it and say he's not the captain. He's the captain until there's another captain. You take a look at it, you go on paper, you look, he's the captain. Beginning of the season, he's there, he's the captain. In paper, in writing. And so I'm very disappointed. Honestly, I really am. Now, I know people who know Shea Weber well, who have had dealings with him, who have told me he's a gentleman, who know him better than I do. I don't know him very well. And you know what? There are people that I trust, and I believe them. And I believe that Shea Weber is a very respectful individual. Not showing up on opening night, not showing up on the night that they pay tribute to Lafleur does not make him a disrespectful person like that. It makes him a person who probably either lacked respect on 2 occasions or dropped the ball on 2 occasions or just didn't quite understand the magnitude and the importance of those 2 particular nights. And by the way, he's not the only. I don't know who called him, who didn't call him, but there have to be people in that organization, from owner to management team to others, that had to reach out to him. And I would hope that they did. And if they didn't, it's on them, but had to reach out to him to say, Shea, this is a night that's really important for the Canadiens family. And we understand that you have commitments at home, but should you be free of those commitments, we think it's important. We'd really love to have you. And so I don't know if that conversation took place or not. Marinero, shop for all your sports licensed lifestyle apparel, including hoodies, caps, t-shirts of your favorite teams, all major leagues, and our sick merchandise, sportbuffshop.com. Use code SICK15 for 15% off on all of their items. And I also want to give a shout out to matrixhomefitness.ca. Speaking of which, Shea Weber is probably not on a treadmill if his foot or ankle is hurting him, but maybe on the bike, maybe keeping him in shape. Bring it home. Discover a club quality workout in the comfort of your own home. Visit matrixhomefitness.ca. There's some talk. It still hasn't been confirmed that Shea Weber will be there for the postmortem on Saturday. You would think he probably has to come in and have some year-end medicals to see where he's at, or maybe there's some administrative things that they have to get done. I'm willing to bet, maybe it's wishful, I hope, I'm willing to bet that Shea Weber will be there for the Lafleur funeral, because I would think that after, this has been much talked about now over the past couple of days, this is, besides the passing of a legend and everyone's hero and idol that was Guy Lafleur, a lot of the airwaves is about, Shea Weber should have been there. And everyone has an opinion on this. But if your opinion is that he's not the captain and he didn't have to be there and he's unofficially retired, and does that mean every other captain should be there or should have been there? Now it's apples and oranges, I think. If you don't think it's important that he should have been there, I don't think you fully understand the long-standing history of the Montreal Canadiens of over 100 years. Les habitants, what it means to people, I don't think you get it. And Shea Weber, if you're watching, Shea, we were told about your leadership abilities. We saw it last year in the playoffs. You definitely played like a leader. You definitely led like a leader. And it looked like your teammates were following your lead. But we were also told that what you instilled here was going to be around the organization for a while. And I don't think you fully grasped it, and I don't think you fully got it. Brendan Gallagher played in that game, and after the game, he went, basically skated to the spot beneath Lafleur's jersey that was hanging from the rafters and lifted his stick on a couple of occasions to pay tribute to Lafleur, as did his teammates. Gallagher fully gets it. I think you got it, but you didn't fully get it, because I think you dropped the ball on a couple of occasions. On opening night and on the night they pay tribute to Guy Lafleur. I'm hoping that you're going to be able to attend the funeral. That's my take. I know everyone's got an opinion on this. Doesn't make Shea a bad guy. I think we've all done things in life where we probably didn't go to a funeral because we didn't know if we could make the time. And then we realized, you know what? I dropped the ball. I should have gone to that funeral. I should have made the time. I should have gone to pay that visit. I should have gone to pay my respects. I should have gone to see that person here. I should have gone to see that person there. I should have said this. I should have done that. reaching out to the family, it was good. Your presence on opening, and for those who are going to say, yeah, but if he was going to be there, it was going to be a distraction, and then it was going to put the onus on him and not on the passing of Lafleur. That's nonsense. Now you're just making excuses, people. People, you're just making excuses. All right? He could have came in under the radar the way he usually does things under the radar. He could have came in under the radar. He's not available to media if you want, or he gives, you know what, he just says something and that's it, or media are told that he's not going to be answering any questions about himself. He's simply in to answer a couple of questions about Guy Lafleur, or he comes in and he makes a statement about Guy Lafleur. Shea, you should have been there. That's my take. I'm Marinero. Follow us on all social media platforms. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Tell your friends about it. You can listen to us via iHeartRadio app. That's it for now. It's a Sick Podcast.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinero on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by 8.6, Intense by Nature, and Lacage. If the last time you went to Lacage was when the Habs won the cup, it's time you went back to Lacage. The menu will surprise you.